Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hey, how you doing? It's Dr. Lauren, and today I was hoping we could take a moment just to talk about the art of sacrifice. That's a great one. Listen, no matter how you slice it, everything we live today is a result of someone somewhere down the line back there making a sacrifice. And everything we do to make a mark in this world that makes people feel something from having known us. Well, oftentimes those moments, those divine moments require, you guessed it, sacrifice. Sacrifice. It's a wonderful thing. I love it as a veteran when people don't just say, thank you for your service, but they also say, and thank you for your sacrifice. So think about it. What are you willing to sacrifice to make your mark in this world? Don't just answer. Think about it. And have a great day. On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake that ass up. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, you beautiful, beautiful people. Good morning. Okay, there. Woof. That was not as easy as it may have looked. Trust me. Half the mornings, I'm doing this in like I'm asleep, right? But you know what? When we come together, everything comes together. Why? Because we are fulfilling a wonderful promise that guarantees us that where two or more of us comes together, we've got that mindset, we've got that heart set. We're just set on easing some suffering somewhere in the world today, right? Can I get an amen? I'll kick them off. There you go. There's the first one. Listen, you guys, I'm so happy you're here. Listen, this is a wonderful day. We are together. Wonderful things are in front of us. And I have a spectacular guest all the way from, I didn't practice my Crocodile Dundee voice, so I was going to say down under. Okay, Australia. Man, okay, I need to work on that. Listen, that was the bell of purpose you just heard, and I ring it throughout this broadcast on purpose, with purpose. Why? Because, well, first of all, let me just get it straight. Don't get it twisted, y'all. That is not a prop. It is not a show gimmick. It's an opportunity. It's an invitation to lean in and tune in and not miss some wonderful things that could change your life and help you to change someone else's. What am I talking about? The truth. That's what, because the truth, just like that bell, you guessed it, it has a ring to it, okay? Tune your moral compass in so you don't miss it. Now, who do we have here today? Woof. Get ready. It's a powerful, powerful story. I kid you not. His name is Jack GLENNON, and he's a professional coach. He has over 20 years of experience working with leaders all over the world. And he's also the founder of GLENNON Peak Coaching. Now, you know, it's never about just one thing. So Jack has gone through a lot of things that this is what is so interesting. As a young man in his early 30s, he experienced 3 strokes. He had heart surgery, and that's just for starters. I am going to, you know, I'm not big on reading bios because I like our guests to pour from their heart and get the show started. So why don't we do that? I hear him coming down the hall all the way from Australia. Good day. No, never mind. I was going to say, never mind. Here he comes. Shit. It's a sign. 222. There's
what an entrance.
222 people here. Oh, it just jumped to 244, which 44 is another one of my angels. It's a good show. Angels amongst us. Are you an angel, Jack GLENNON?
I'm not sure I'd ever claim to be that, but it's a great, absolutely fantastic to be here.
I think you brought a few with you.
I hope so.
Well, when I checked into and when you were telling me your story, you know, from when you were a younger guy in your 30s, all those, I hate to call them near-death experiences, but even if it just in our minds, you had to have gone there wondering what the heck is going on. So we're going to get into that, like not just the fear base or whatever it was, but also what it was, what it drew you into, why do you believe today you experience that? Because I don't believe we experience anything just for shits and giggles. I think it's for things, they're, you know, purposeful things. So listen, I like to let you have the stage, okay, for up to 60 seconds. You don't have to take the whole 60, but feel free to if you choose to. And then I'll come back in, but just pour into everybody. 346 coming. Come on, you guys. I feel you. I see you. Come on in. Jack's got something for you. So Jack, go ahead, take the stage. I'll be back in. It's all you. Take it away.
Thank you ever so much. Well, as I said, it's absolutely a pleasure to be here. My story is a bit of a challenging one, full of moments of questioning one's own identity, but really building that resilience and strength. And as Dr. Lauren mentioned, you know, why did it happen? Why did certain things happen on my journey? Today, I'm here to explain those reasons, but also the mistakes that I made that now lead me to where I am today, which, you know, as that professional coach, helping leaders and helping new professionals in the corporate world, especially, come in with a little bit more awareness about themselves, but focusing on that emotional intelligence that we're often not necessarily told about. But the stories of adversity are the ones that really give us that opportunity to grow. So those are the ones I'm here to share.
Unmute. Awesome. Listen, I just got to ask to get it out of the way. Can you please say good day, mate?
I've got to be honest, Dr. Lon, I'm not originally Australian, so I feel cheated doing it. I'm originally from the UK.
You are?
Originally, yeah.
So do people recognize your accent from the UK or from Australia?
Depends on who I'm talking to, but yeah, over here, definitely English.
So you don't think you sound like you're Australian?
No, but people back in the UK do.
Okay, good. So it's not just me. All right. So let's. Where did you grow up, and how did you grow up? What was it like for you?
So I grew up originally in the UK, but I was there until my sort of early mid-20s, where I decided, and thanks to various nudges from various people, to leave effectively, because it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to go and travel, see the world, challenge myself. I always loved adventure. And so I ended up in Australia and ended up joining an industry which was very out of my comfort zone, which was scuba diving. And I did all the courses that I needed to do to climb the ladder, so to speak. And I became a scuba diving instructor.
Wow. That sounds very exciting and like a tennis pro or something like that. One of those. Ooh. So let's go back to, so you had a pretty normal, if there's any such thing, journey, and then you hit the 30s.
Yeah. So at this point, I'd left the scuba diving industry and joined the corporate world, if you like, and joined a global organization. And I learned so much. And the story will go through my time there. And, I won't obviously name any names, but people made mistakes along the way. And I don't feel any negative thoughts towards anybody, because people make mistakes. We all do. I did along the way. And so in my early 30s, I was away on a bit of a sales conference.
Need more light. Sorry, go ahead. I have ADHD. Anything's possible. So just let me know. Go on.
And as on sales conferences happens, after the day, you and your colleagues go for a couple of beers, as it happens. So we were all to meet up at a restaurant. And as I'm walking into the restaurant, everyone's taking a seat to my right. And so you've got this image in your head of a group of people walking in, lots of energy, lots of positivity. And as I'm walking in, the best way I can describe it is my left foot feels like it's magnetized to the floor, which sounds stupid, right? Sounds ridiculous.
Wait, almost like it fell asleep?
No, literally like it's stuck. It was heavy, really heavy.
Really?
Yeah. And no one's noticing. I'm not making a to-do out of it, but this is weird. This is odd. And I managed to drag myself to the end of the table and just plop myself down, take a seat. And I'm seeing people order some more drinks and a couple of shots. And I go, maybe that's not a good idea for me right now. And I try and get some feeling to my leg. And I notice this is not right. This is something not quite right at all. And it's starting to go up my body really slowly. But I'm completely coherent. I'm feeling fine.
You can feel it moving?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're still sitting there with everybody like nothing's going on?
No one's knowing what's going on right now, because I didn't want to cause a scene or anything.
Well,
so a friend of mine
better than I could have.
A friend of mine goes outside for a cigarette, and I go, "Oh, can I join you?" Because I smoked at the time. Since quit, funnily enough. But
I know, me too.
And he was like, "Yeah, no worries." I'm like, "Can you help me?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Just don't tell anyone." He's like, "Okay, no dramas." So we get outside onto the street on a bench, and I'm slowly doing this and losing the left side of my body, and just very, very weird and quite panicky naturally, and very confused and, not quite sure what's going on. And after a little bit, it starts to go away, starts to go back down.
Oh,
okay, maybe it's a trapped nerve, maybe something's really weird going on. And someone comes out and, asks what's going on. And I explained to him what was going on. I said, "Look, don't tell anyone inside. Don't want to cause an issue." And he said, "Look, my mum's a nurse. Can you just have a chat with her?" And being in young 30s, man especially, quite stubborn, everything's fine. But I said, "Okay, no worries. I'll talk to her." So we got her on the phone, and she went, "Go to hospital now," which isn't what you really want to hear, but I kind of had to listen to her advice. So myself and the friend of mine that came out with me, who to this day I count this person as family for what he did to me, did for me that night. He and I went to the hospital, and I told the guy that came out initially, don't tell anybody, just say I went home and I'm being grumpy.
What is that?
Everyone have a good night.
We're coming back to that.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. But so we got to hospital, and as I'm sure everyone's aware, when you get to A&E, ER or wherever it's called.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you get checked, and they go, "What's your problem?" You go, "Oh, this." "Okay, no worries. Sit down, and we'll see you in 3 hours or whatever it might be."
Right.
This didn't happen. I get there, I'm like that, and I tell them what's going on, and a door swings open and goes, "Come through right now." So that's my first sign that something's really not quite right. You're getting rushed in, shirts being ripped open, picked up, put on a bed, doctors and nurses rushing around you, bits and pieces being stuck all over you, and, the beep starting. And I remember being very confused at this point, and then hearing someone say the word stroke. And that was in your early 30s, when, especially my lifestyle, very active, scuba dive for years. I'd climbed Mount Kilimanjaro at this point, very active and, enjoying life. That was...
Did you say you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro?
Yeah.
Oh my God, me too.
It was the best thing I've ever...
I'm kidding, I did not. But it felt good for just a second, like to pretend. But go ahead. Wow. Overachieved much?
I just challenged myself a lot.
I know. I'm just jealous. Go ahead.
But... So yes, this idea of something being severe was so foreign and terrifying, and and full transparency, I started to weep. I was terrified, and my friend was there, and he just kept saying, "You'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine." And the symptoms and signs all started to dissipate and started to go away, and they kept me overnight, and I had to do lots of tests throughout the whole evening with a physiotherapist, because I was supposed to fly home the next morning. And I was determined I was going to get on that plane. So I made bets with this physiotherapist throughout the night that if I basically beat the test, I would get an hour back for the next day.
Okay.
Which really helped motivate me. So, and I did. I ended up going home the next day and getting back and having lots of tests with neurologists, every test under the sun. And I was told, "You're fine. We can't understand really what's going on. It seems like a bit of a hiccup. We can't really see anything. You're young, you're fit, you're healthy." Exactly. Yeah. Carry on. So this was March, April 2019. And I had a trip planned with a good friend of mine in January 2020 to India. And he and I were going to take a tuk-tuk the length of India and drive the full length of India, which was an adventure. Unfortunately, what happened was halfway through this adventure, it happened again. In the middle of nowhere, we were buying oil and fuel for our tuk-tuk, and I have the fuel in my hands, and I just go down very slowly on my left onto the ground. This time, no fear. This time, I was just angry. I was angry with the situation I was in. I was angry with the people that said I was fine, because clearly there was something else going on. I knew what to do. I took aspirin, because aspirin's a blood thinner. I told my friend with me, I was like, get me back to the room so I can just crash out and take aspirin. I'll try and raise my heart rate to try and push through whatever's going on. But I'm not going to hospital. There is no hospital. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So what else do? We finished the race. Had to. So we finished because we were in a bit of a race with loads of other people down the length of India. And at that point, going home, I was very much the mindset going, something else is wrong here. And I took lots of tests. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my wife or my mother back in the UK, because I didn't know the reason behind that, I know it sounds weird, was I didn't know what it was yet. So they would only have more questions that I couldn't answer. I wanted to know what was going on first, and then go, this is what's going on, and this is how we're going to tackle it, which is a different way of approaching it, I think, possibly for lots of people, but that was me. What we found out was, through a fantastic neurologist, a different one versus the first time, that I in fact had 3 strokes. When the third one was, we have no idea. But she showed me the scans, and there was 3 points on my brain that were dead, effectively. So we knew now what happened. Now we need to know the reason why. So further tests pursued, and what we found out was basically when you're born, your heart has obviously a partition, and when you take your first breath, it closes like that.
Oh.
And that partition's sealed. And what we found out that mine never did. So for 3 years, it was doing that, collecting everything, going through our bloodstream. It was a ticking time bomb.
You think?
Yeah. So very lucky to be here at this point. Thinking could it have happened underwater? Thousands of dives that it did could have happened in Kilimanjaro. I would not be here. So whilst not feeling great, feeling happy that I'm here, and then we know what's going on. So what we needed to do was heart surgery, to put a device, an amazing device, really smart, basically a fan through each side to seal it, one side, and then for it to do that, basically to seal the hole. The tricky thing was this is just as COVID was kicking off.
Oh, this was recent.
Yeah, this was 2020.
Wow.
So this was the complication, because it wasn't just a matter of just going and checking in, and it was a matter of going through every single process, every single test, every single time anything was going on. When it came to the heart surgery, it was interesting because I had the heart surgery on the Thursday. On the Friday, I'm in the hospital and I'm all wired up. And this leads us on to my career, because my way of dealing with every episode through this period had been to throw myself into work, which is a very common habit and not a healthy one. And this was no exception.
A common habit for you, or a common habit in general?
Oh, in general.
Okay.
Definitely in general. Like when we work somewhere, which is, when we enjoy our jobs, enjoy our environments, and life isn't great outside that, we will throw ourselves even more into it because it's a safe place. It's a distraction.
Right. A distraction. There it is.
Yeah. The double whammy of that is the fact that I work for an organization, a corporate one, that had a big culture trope about being a family.
Oh.
And when it comes to large organizations that talk about family, it's quite dangerous. And I learned this the hard way. And I'll admit to anyone that I bought into it. And this is not against the company. It's just this idea that a lot of larger businesses have that I think is very dangerous, because I bought into it. I preached it as well, going, welcome to the family. We're all together. Da, 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 da. What it does is, the obvious thing that gets spoken about a lot is you work more than you probably should because it's a family, and that's the whole idea. But what it does is it makes it a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
When it isn't necessarily that. You are a cog in a wheel, and that's okay. That's fine. That's part of the corporate world. But there's dangers to that, which I'll get to. But to give you an idea of that, going back to my story, is the second day I'm in hospital. I think you might even have a photo of this that I flicked through to you.
Mm-hmm.
Wired up. And what most people will be doing is sleeping, watching movies, Netflix, texting, playing games, whatever it might be. I was on Microsoft Teams working the day after having heart surgery whilst I'm in hospital. And I was having conversations with people at the organization, including the director of HR at the time. They were very aware of where I was, and they were going, look, you really shouldn't be working. It's probably not the best idea. And they were right. I was in the wrong in that situation, but I wasn't equally listening very well either.
Okay.
Now, what they should have done in this situation is recognize that and go on, this employee isn't helping himself. We've got to help him in this situation and disconnect him from our system, because he's not working. He shouldn't be working. He's in hospital. This is nuts. They didn't. They allowed it, enabled it. And my mindset was to throw myself more into work, because that was the safe place. It was the right thing to do. It's where I could add purpose, my identity, all these, very much things that I speak about. And it wasn't healthy. Now,
you think?
Yeah, that's not literally someone that looks like they should be working. And
right.
Wasn't doing good work at the same time either.
Oh, look at all that stuff on you, Jack. We're so sorry. But anyway, when can you get that report in?
To be fair, they weren't quite saying that.
Okay.
But they weren't stopping me either.
They weren't stopping you. Saying, Jack, listen, we've reassigned some of your deadline items to so-and-so. So we want you to just lay back. And when you all that. So was it the empathy piece that was missing?
No, there was definitely empathy shown there. I wasn't listening, which is on me, but there wasn't the call to be recognizing that and gone, we can't allow this person to be working. Let's just disconnect him from the system
But let me just ask, because here we are. You are the guy that kept saying, because I wrote it down, all the way through all these other things at the table. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that's the guy who, what I'm getting at is it possible, Jack, that you had groomed them to feel like you know how he is? He doesn't want to show any sign of weakness. He doesn't. Or were you that way
to a certain degree
because you'd learned it through the corporate thing? We're family, but don't tell us too much. I mean,
to a certain degree, yes. But that photo I actually sent to them, so they knew exactly how I was. And it wasn't a secret. I mean, the work event, everyone was aware of what happened at the work event the year before, and that this had gone around the next time, so they knew it was serious. What continued after this was a bit more serious. So that was the Friday. The following Tuesday evening, I was at home and my wife was out. She was giving plasma, ironically. And it was around 7:00 in the evening. And out of the blue, my heart goes mental. Starts beating.
Oh, erratic?
Erratic and very, very fast. I start to feel, and literally in an instant, I start to feel dizzy. I throw up. I'm very aware something's not quite right. I call a neighbor over to double check that something's not quite right because I'm an idiot. And we both immediately recognize, this is not good. Call an ambulance. The ambulance gets there and recognizes that I'm really not good, and they need to call a secondary ambulance just in case something even worse happens. What transpired was my heart was going at 230 beats a minute.
As opposed to what it should have been, which is?
I believe normally it should be around, don't quote me about this, but about half that.
Okay.
I was in trouble. So I got rushed to hospital and put on a ward, and they give me magnesium and potassium in a drip. Can't remember which one of them, but one of them, remember, hurts a lot. Wasn't working. Now, again, this is COVID time. Mm-hmm. So my wife comes home, the neighbors run out. Jack's gone to hospital. She races to the hospital. She can't see me. She can't come in.
Because of COVID.
So I'm in this little room on my own, and I'm on the phone to my mum back in the UK, telling her what's going on and just unloading a little bit. And they rush in and tell me that they're going to have to defibrillate my heart, which means to stop it.
Isn't that thing on TV? Clear!
That's exactly it.
Oh, no.
Because the drugs aren't working, and it's beating such a rate that it's obviously dangerous. So their only bet is to stop it and then try and restart it.
Okay. Hold on. What went through your mind the moment you heard that for real?
So the next 5 minutes, I went through really weird experience, and it sticks with me because naturally fear, confusion. I'm out of control. I'm on the phone to my mother.
What about the fear of dying?
Oh, that's absolutely.
Did you think, what if they stop it and they can't get it going again?
That was a genuine risk. So at that point, I said effectively goodbye to my mom on the phone, because there was no guarantee that I was going to come back.
My God, what did she do?
I really feel for her. There's nothing she can do. She's in the UK. To be fair, there's nothing my wife could have done. She was outside in her car. But the weird thing was, the moment I hung up the phone to my mum, I went calm. I can't explain it, but it was a weird moment of acceptance of going, okay, this is it. And I hope I come back, but there's nothing I can do either way. And it wasn't a conscious feeling. It wasn't a moment where I said, calm down, Jack, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It just moved almost as a motion of going, oh my God, this is happening too. Okay, this is happening. And it was really bizarre. A moment of acceptance, which I haven't ever felt since.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you. It sounds like there was some type of acceptance that, how do you think that happened?
I don't know to this day, because it was so quick, because it was they rushing in, my mum hearing everything they were saying on the phone, and having that moment to say goodbye on the phone, and then them giving me something in the drip to pass me out, and then bang, and then I'm awake again.
Jack, do you think that acceptance can be synonymous with a sense of peace? When you say you accepted it, were you at peace with it? You hear people say, I finally found I was at peace with it, which means I'm okay with it. Is that what you're saying when you say acceptance, that no matter what happens, I'm okay with it?
I don't think that necessarily, because in hindsight, I definitely wouldn't be. But in the moment, there was nothing. I'm someone who is quite controlled. I like to plan. I like to be in control traditionally. That's a moment where I was out of control completely, and this had to happen. And it was, if you have a chance to breathe the next hour again, you're going to have to do this and roll the dice. And it was the acceptance almost that that's your one card you have to play. So play it. And and that level of acceptance, if you want, in terms of the peace, I had peace of that's the card I've got to play. And if that card doesn't come up, and that's me, at least I played the card.
Well, the reason I mentioned that is because for any of you out there, I've had it, a panic attack where you're thinking something is happening and you're thinking it really feels like, because you've never felt this. It doesn't line up with anything you've ever experienced. And you think, oh my God, is this it? And you start, and it can make it worse, because that's what a panic. So that's why I asked. I mean, because, in hindsight, a lot of us would think, oh, well, he handled that pretty well. But in that moment, I mean it. I was foaming at the mouth, and my hands went numb, and a lot of things were triggered that were out of my control, but I was really feeding them through the anxiety. Okay, so you have the acceptance, and then what happens?
So the next thing I know, I wake up and I'm back.
Oh, they did it.
They did it. Oh, yeah, they did it. So that was the Tuesday they did it. And then I stayed overnight. They messed around with my meds that I was on. I was okay for about a week and a half from memory. And then it happened again. Not as bad. 190 from memory. Still bad enough to come in. And they did it. But this time it was weird, because it was, okay, this is the process. Potassium, magnesium. You need to defib me? Okay. I know it's going to work and we'll be fine. So it was almost safe that time, even though it wasn't necessarily. There was chances it wouldn't work, but it was, okay, this is just what we do. And that was the Sunday. And then it happened again on the Wednesday straight afterwards. And they said they couldn't do it. So because of having done it so soon.
So recently?
Exactly. The risk was too high. So I had to stay in overnight, and they played with meds, and I was just panting, just because my heart's racing. It's a great way to lose weight.
Thank you.
But then it started to, basically what we found out was the whole heart was just really irate. It was inflamed because of the operation, and the meds that I was on had to be played around with, and that lasted about 6 months. And I had to wear a Fitbit, so I could monitor my heart rate and keep it low during that period. But what I did in that period was just threw myself even further into work. I remember in May, in the midst of one of these attacks, my leader, who was my mentor, and I owe so much to him and learned so much to him, he left the business very quickly through issues I'm not quite fully aware of both sides. But it was very much, he's leaving on Friday in a Teams call. And as the team call finished, the director then called me and offered me his role to take over from him as in a leadership role. Which I accepted on my way to hospital as I was leaving the door. I called my would-be boss, or my new boss, literally on Teams, and going, so I'd like to accept the job, but I've got to go, which is so stupid. I reflect back, and we learn from our mistakes. But my mentality was, work's the safe place, work's where I can throw myself into it. It's they're going to do right by me, and da-da-da-da-da. So made a lot of mistakes along the way, as we all do. Now, fast forward a few years where I moved roles, and moved location for the roles. I had to live away from my wife, unfortunately, for nearly 18 months because of that. So gave everything to the business. and too much, again, you learn. And then what happens, and this comes back to the family danger, is corporations evolve, they move on, they grow, they reduce, they have troubles, financial crisis, COVID, all sorts, right? Normal. So what happened, there was a big redundancy. And unfortunately, I was on that list after being there for nearly 9 years. And that was tough, and it was really difficult. And because it was part of my identity,
what does that mean? Explain that, because some people may not. I saw that in some of your work that's out there online, your website and stuff, and you refer to it as a key redundancy. So explain
layoffs.
that to people.
Layoffs. Basically, it's when a lot of businesses have done it, have needed to do it, and I understand why. Again, I've actually got a lot of sympathy for the people that have to deliver this news, because it's really rough, especially to the ones that do it well. But basically, when businesses are really struggling to maintain their growth, especially out of COVID, and they're not getting the revenue in, they need to find a way to cut costs,
or they're going to go out of business, right?
Exactly. Or they're not going to please their shareholders, or whatever it might be in the structure they've got. And the biggest way to do that is by reducing your overheads, which is reducing your people.
Exactly.
Yes, it means more work on other people, but if you want a job, you're going to stick around. So there was a big layoff, and they wanted to bring all the leadership into Sydney, which I wasn't part of, because I lived here in Brisbane, and I've moved already. And they wanted to combine my role with someone else who was already there, which, again, the decisions are absolutely fine, and I understand them. The trouble and the difficulty and the dangers of this come with the family bit, because overnight, and I've experienced it myself, and I've seen so many other people experience it, you're in an environment that you believe in wholeheartedly too much. That's your family, that's supposed to look out for you, and that's your safe place. And I mentioned that a lot. And within one meeting or one day, it goes from your safe place to somewhere that's caused you pain and has let you down, or, almost like a breakup or whatever it might be. And this is normal. This is, organizations in the corporate world. People have disciplinaries, people get into disagreements, people are going redundant or laid off, people are fired. That's okay. It's part of the corporate world and the organization if you're aware of it. But by playing the family card, it really blurs the lines. I asked someone recently with a call, and I asked them what was their definition of a family business. What was the first thing that came to mind? And they described a wonderful mum and pup deli with mum and pup, and granddad used to own it, and it's being passed down through generations. That's an amazing family business. That is family culture. Corporate organizations can't play that game because it's dangerous, because they have to put numbers first. That's fine. That's part of knowing the beast. And yes, you need to get your people right to grow, but sometimes you've got to make really tough decisions, like layoffs, like redundancies, whatever it might be. And when you flip that coin overnight from, we're all here for you, we're a family, we don't need you anymore because actually we need to hit our bottom line, that can cause people a lot of mental harm and question their identity and their purpose in the world.
Yeah, and not to mention the way that they trust moving forward.
Absolutely.
Because it's a deep betrayal.
It's like a breakup.
Yeah.
And when it becomes part of your identity, and people you speak to every day for so long, you're going, well, what do I do next on Monday? I don't know what I do. Who am I?
Right.
And that's can be very dangerous and damaging.
So you took all of this poison, okay, and extracted it and created your own version of an antidote, I'm thinking.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is how you serve people today through your coaching?
I will say, for starters, that it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, that's a bold statement.
Whilst it was painful at the time, I recognized that really in the last year of being there, I wasn't massively happy myself. And I would have stuck it out. I would have stayed 100%.
You've still been there?
Oh, God, yeah. Because
it's still running back and forth to the ER.
Well, probably not so much that, because I'm healed and better now, but maybe for other reasons.
So let me ask you, though, because you were running back to the job and you couldn't even turn it down while you were in the middle of a medical crisis.
Yeah.
So is that it's like almost like if that job was your girlfriend, or it's almost like you're a stalker. You know what I mean? It's like you can't even in the middle of a crisis say, honey, let's cancel our date. I need to have my heart stopped and started again. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
I mean, well, let's talk about this. Let's call it this. Do you feel today that you, at that point, had an unhealthy relationship with work?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So that sounds like it's a little bit stronger than the term work-life balance. You know what I mean? Because that's like, oh, I need to get rid of this so that I can do that and I can take my daughter this. But this is ridiculous.
The funny thing is I was probably the biggest cultivator of work-life balance with anyone that I led. Anyone that was ever in my team, I really pushed that work-life balance. And
you weren't living your own teachings.
Oh my God, I was the worst. I was the absolute worst.
If you're going to teach, you must live your teachings.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And that's the thing I've made. So I'm first person to admit that I've made mistakes, and it's made me who I am now, because I recognize the mistakes that I've made in others and help them prevent going down the line that I did as well. What I did after being laid off was, firstly, I made the call to take a break and go, what do I want to do and who am I? And financially, what I did, because when people are laid off or made redundant, they're normally given a payoff. And the tendency for people to do is buy a nice car or go on a holiday or put it into their mortgage or whatever it might be. It's a big lump sum of money to utilize. I wanted to give myself two things, which we very rarely have together: time and the money. So what I did is I took that big amount of money and I put it into an account and I paid myself a wage for a certain amount of many months. So it gave me that gap to go, you're going to use this time to get yourself right in the head, to redefine your identity, to refocus your balance, and to learn and open up your mind again. So that took the pressure off going, I've got to find a job tomorrow, which was a big thing. So I took a little bit of time away. I took a road trip in America on my own. And I had a couple of amazing moments of levity where a moment where I recognized and let so much sort of inner upset and probably unsaid things. I remember driving down from the Sierra Nevada mountains and listening to a song, and the words resonated massively with what I'd just gone through and certain people that I felt let me down. And I just started singing so loudly, I would have looked awful. But tears running down my face, but happy tears. And you could feel everything coming off my shoulders and going, okay, I recognize who I am. I'm coming back. And then going, what do I want to do? What gets me up in the morning? What's my purpose? What's my identity? Because my name, so I worked for this business and it was called Tic Tac. People called me Tic Tac Jack. It was literally part of my identity. And I had to shed that. And a good friend of mine said, you'll find yourself, you're going to become more than that name, which was wonderful advice.
So let me ask you, let's go to this thing, because I saw this on your website, and it kind of goes with what you just said about redefine your identity, self-reinvention. They kind of go hand in hand. Yeah. So, but a lot of people struggle because how can you change what you can't identify? You don't see it because a lot of people are in denial. Mm-hmm. People may say or point them, look over there, that's you, or this is it, or here, let me write it down, or let me give you a sketch of it. That ain't me. That's not okay, right? Whatever. Get out of here. So what did you have to do to be completely honest with yourself? Because that's where a lot of us will drop the ball. We break our own covenants with ourselves because we can't be completely honest with ourselves. I know even with myself, oftentimes I believe in transparency and I live with it. However, when it comes to being transparent with myself, sometimes it's not as easy to take something and clean the frosted window so I can see clearly. How did you get to the point where you could, because come on now, you've had near-death experiences and you still kept doing the same stuff. So what was it that finally, the straw that broke the camel's back, what was that?
I needed a jolt, and having that I've no idea what I'm going to do on Monday moment, and going, I need to take myself out of this environment. So being laid off and getting out of the country and taking myself on that road trip was huge, because it forced me to break the cycle and go, it's okay if I'm not working tomorrow for this business. I'm still me, and who is that?
I'm still me. Yes.
I'm still me, and who is that?
I still have worth. Right.
Exactly, worth. And what does that mean? And what does my worth mean? What does my purpose mean? And starting to ask myself these questions in a different environment, breaking the cycle of the routine of getting up and doing this and calling this person or whatever it might be, was so ingrained for so long, forcing myself out of that and having moments to go, don't need to think about it right now. I'm doing this. I'm going to go for lunch or whatever it might be. But having moments of forcing yourself to ask those questions and go, okay, even if you don't know the answer, that's fine. Because it's just laying a seed of question going, why do you think that happened? Would you have done anything differently? What do you want to do tomorrow? What do you want to do in 6 months, 2 months' time? Who do you want to be? I remember a lovely moment that will resonate with me forever is I was in Yosemite and I FaceTimed my mum from the UK, who unfortunately just doesn't sort of fly very easily. But Yosemite somewhere I know she would always want to see. So I sort of showed her the mountains and stuff, which was lovely.
Yeah.
And she said, you look like you for the first time in years. And you sound like you for the first time in years.
Speaking of Yosemite, we were just there on the 4th of July. We were in Jackson Hole. And boy, you're right. That place.
It's special.
It's very special. You cannot help but be changed.
Exactly.
But let me ask you something. Because I have a couple I have 3 actually coaching clients that all women, all grew up in cults.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've talked extensively about the grooming process. And I have a lot of clients who have defected or are trying to from the corporate culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the grooming process where, that family thing, that's the same verbiage they use in those cults. We are a family. Let's drink the Kool-Aid together. Come on, let me hear you. Duh, and this, that, and they do all these things. And so how do you look at it today? Can you see how you were groomed to the point where you were, and think about the people who aren't as strong as you are, that can't make those choices because they're afraid that if I don't have this as an identity, as this is who I am, I have nothing. How do we lose who we are to a paycheck? We're pouring everything we are into the building of someone else's dreams. I would think that would be something that a solopreneur or an entrepreneur who's paying themselves retail instead of wholesale would have that issue. But here are people who are, take me to your leader kind of thing. Yeah. So how do you help people today? Is this a prominent thing? Do you get a lot of people come with this same identity crisis? It's an identity crisis, yes?
It is to a certain degree. I think there's a couple of elements to it. I think firstly, when it comes to the corporate world, I think I'm not putting down anyone working for a corporation as long as you know what you're going into. And it's not about being cynical, but be savvy about it and go, look, this is a job. I'm not going to buy into it. You just mentioned the Kool-Aid, right? I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm still going to do my job because I like the product or I like the brand and I might like my job. So that bit's fine, but it's actually about that recognition going, you can love your job, but don't necessarily fall in love with the company because the company's never going to love you back, really. You can love your job and love, working with your team or the people you lead if you're a leader or, even if you're not. But that doesn't define you.
But if you say that in the break room or if you say that during a team building session or whatever, you might be looked at like, you're not one of us. You understand?
It depends. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it depends on the environment. If you're a leader in an organization and you've got the credibility and the professional approach to recognize the dangers of it, you can change the culture. And you can still have a welcoming, an open, an accepting environment and culture without necessarily calling it a family.
Yeah. Did you go to college for the work you do?
I've taken courses individually, but not college itself. No,
okay, so think about this. The courses, people that get the degrees and go the traditional route. Do you feel, Jack, with what you know today as opposed to what you didn't know back then, Do you feel this is something that should be taught, that should be introduced into the curriculum as, yes, there's going to be all these wonderful things, However, you might want to know that there is a possibility of this. And here's why I say that. I say the same thing because I'm a veteran, right? And I always say, I wish when the recruiter, threw all those things out that made me go, really? I can have that. I can do that. Let's go. I give my life to, but they should also say, now there is a little thing called PTSD, and 80% of you come out with some sort of PTSD all around you, just to know what you're getting into. So I guess that's the question. Do you think we need to do a better job of letting young people know of what they could be signing up for?
I think we need to do a better job of letting young people know what a career is and what it means more than anything else. Because I think there's so many people have different ideas and definitions of what real work is. And that would include what the dangers of the wrong career or the wrong job. I spoke to someone recently and I said to them, look, they were looking for their next role. I said, don't look for the right company, look for the right leader.
That's a good one.
Because
that's a great tip.
Because the leaders who you're going to have the most interaction with, and they can make your life heaven or hell in an instant. So it's about, I think, teaching them savviness of corporation life is great, and I think that should be taught. But it's more the definition of what a career is. We're brought up, in such a structured way. You get your grades, you do that, tick box. Next thing, you go to uni, tick box. Next thing, get a job. You're put in a box to do all these things. And in reality, hang on, there's 24 hours in a day. So how do you split that up healthily so you know who you are, or you find out who you are, and you have that space and that journey to find out and to discover who you are as you change. People change in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s onwards. But if you don't allow that scope and that freedom to do that, because all you are is this person that works at this business, then you'll never truly discover your potential.
Absolutely right. I just have it here in my hand. It was right here underneath this piece of paper. I say to my clients all the time, and I keep it here to remind myself too. I have a choice. When I have a choice, I actually do this all the time. And I'm married to a psychotherapist. So that's where I got this from. But I always put like healthy and unhealthy. And when I ask myself questions about what I'm doing, if I ask it and then look here, if it's unhealthy, it's the very first thing I see. My eyes go to the word unhealthy. If it is a healthy choice, I automatically go to the top row, healthy. And because I'm seeking a healthy self, and look, when you break the word up, heal thyself.
Yeah.
Healthy self is heal that you got to do it. And so if you were, say, 28 and it was your birthday today, and you knew then what you know now, what would you say to the 28-year-old Jack?
You're going to find my answer a bit weird.
Well, I'm used to weird. Go ahead.
I'd do it anyway.
You do the same exact thing.
I know it's strange considering everything I went through, but
no,
to be at the place where I am now and having discussions with some incredible people and learn the lessons, you need to go through difficult times. And I think that's a trouble. It's a difficulty we have in this current world, that people don't particularly want to do that. But you have to. I watched Gordon Ramsay said something brilliant recently. He was, what was it? Get ready for never fear the storm. Get comfortable dancing in the rain.
Oh,
brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Because you need to go through difficult times to find out who you are and to build your inner resilience, and also find out who your support network is. The best piece of advice I was ever told, and I tell everybody this now, is that in your lowest of moments, people will rise up around you, and the people that come closest are the best definition of who you are. So recognize who they are and look in that reflection.
That's awesome. Are you a little bit more vulnerable today, Jack? Where if something were to start happening and a group of friends were in the room with you, would you still try to, I don't want anybody to know, don't tell them, this and that, or do you feel you're more transparent and like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm much more, and I've asked for help a lot. I think that's a strength, not a weakness.
That's a strength. Yes, it is. That's what I want to hear. Do you have we're just about ready to go in the last minute. You got any tips, anything you want to leave the folks with? Just let me say, you guys watch the scroll underneath here. There's Jack's LinkedIn, and we're also going to share his website with you so you can get over and check out. So Jack, what do you got for him?
I know we've given a few tips already. So I'll probably leave with one more is to allow yourself to feel it in these moments when you've come across adversity. Feel it. Don't run away from it. Recognize those feelings because they're going to take you on a path of decisions that will only give you a brighter future and allow yourself to grow.
Awesome. And if people want to talk to you about your coaching program, go to the website and there's a way to reach you in there?
Absolutely. They'll get me directly.
Okay, great. Wow. Jack Glennon, what a quick hour this was. Man, what a story. Have you written the book yet?
It's in the works.
Great. I had a feeling. Listen, you're welcome back anytime. Please reach out and just let us know. And thank you for sharing your origin story and how you made it to where you are today, and also for pouring into us. So somebody out there, there it is. If you need to talk to Jack, please get over and do just that. Listen, I want to thank you again. Great job today. Great job. And thank you all for providing us a platform by being here. We couldn't do it without you. And guess what? We wouldn't want to. Now listen, get out of here. Go find a higher piece of yourself today. You just need to find one E and one R. Pick it up, and you've taken what's already great to greater, what's already bright to brighter, and what's already bold to bolder. I will meet you, God willing, tomorrow morning over there on the front porch where we can have another illuminated conversation right here on Bathrobe Moments. Now, I tell you every day as we leave, I love, love, love you. And guess what? There's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Get out there and be the blessing you want to be. Jack, thank you again. Great job. Bye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul.